This is one of the best segments here on the Heat Check because, look, we hear from all of the guys all of the time, but it's very few times where we can hear from the fans. And we allow your voice and your opinions to be heard on this show like everybody else. And, the guys, they don't hold back. So I want to dive into a couple of these because I feel like they're going to make a smile on some people's faces and they're going to upset some others. Yeah. I want to dive in. Ovie, I'm going to give you the first touch here because our guy who's very consistent in terms of shouting us out on the show. So shout out to Paul each and every time, man. But you're a big man in this league, so you understand what it's about. And Paul feels that the move from Serge Ibaka to the Bucks could be a great one. Yeah, and it will patch up some of the issues that they've had defensively. And of course, we know about his 3-point shooting, which has improved consistently during his tenure in the league. How much do you value this move? And do you feel like it's a good move from the Bucks?
I feel like it's a really good move from the Bucks. You got someone who's obviously a veteran in the league. He's proven that he's able to defend the rim at points, and he's obviously got 3-point shooting to be able to spread the floor. So him being out there isn't gonna, I think, take anything away from Giannis's game. I think they've just tried to sort of bolster their front line and bringing in a big man like Ibaka with the skill set he has, experience he has. Obviously, he's been there before. He's won, and what they're trying to do. And obviously, with Lopez being out, I think he could be a really good fit for those guys. So I definitely feel like those guys have improved.
Talk about teams that have improved. For those that don't watch this team on League Pass, I would turn around and say the Timberwolves is one of the most improved teams. But BJ, Chris feels that they may have missed a trick in not acquiring enough depth in this trade deadline. How do you feel about the moves and the way the roster construction is right now in Minnesota?
Well, I think hope is back in Minnesota. And Anthony Edwards, let's start there, guys. He's been playing terrific basketball. He's a young and upcoming star, and it's just a matter of time when he's going to be named to the All-Star game, not if. Karl Anthony Towns, I think, is an all-star. So I think there's hope in Minnesota. I think you can see this team heading in the right direction. And now you're beginning to see what they're going to need to get to that ultimate level. I like what they're doing. I like the fact they're allowing their young players to continue to develop, grow into their roles, what they're going to be, how they're going to be. And I think the next step is beginning to learn how to defend on a consistent basis. But overall, I like what this team is doing. I like where the organization is headed. And I think it's very positive up there in Minnesota. And I think just a matter of time, guys, before they begin to acquire the necessary pieces to surround their young budding stars.
Talk about surrounding young budding stars in this league. When I think of that description, automatically what comes to mind is the Boston Celtics. And Mo, I need to know your opinion on the big moves that they made on the trade deadline. Derek White, underrated player in this league. Cam also agrees as an underrated trade. How much do you value Derek White's value now he's a Boston Celtic?
Cameron Tate, you're speaking big facts. This was the best trade of the trade deadline. Yeah, I said it. Because there's no question marks over how it's going to fit. These other moves, there might be some question marks, and I'm sure we'll get into them on the show. But Derek White, he hopped off the plane from San Antonio. 4 hours later, he hit the court in the TD Garden with the crowd going crazy, and he delivered on both ends of the floor, stepping up defensively and offensively. He's a very unselfish player. He knows how to move the ball. The Celtics on their win streak have done a great job of moving the basketball. And on the defensive end, well, if you're an opposition guard and you're tired of being guarded by Marcus Smart and Smart goes to the bench and Derek White checks in, your night just got a whole lot longer. So listen, I love this pickup. Ime Udoka's coached him back in San Antonio. He's played with Tatum, Brown, and Smart for Team USA. I love this pickup. I love everything about Derek White. If you remember Jaydee in the studio a few weeks ago, I said the Atlanta Hawks need to go and get him. They didn't. The Celtics got him instead. And on Sunday night, on our NBA Sundays primetime game, that came back to haunt them because Derek White was a big reason why the Celtics made that comeback and went on to win that game.
Coach Popovich just giving assists out here everywhere. BJ, you look like you want to add there. I heard you take a deep breath.
I will let Mo have his day. It's been a long season for Mo. It's been a long season for the Celtics. I'm going to allow the Celtics to have their day in the sun. But you know what? We know what's coming.
I'm enjoying.
But when it gets a little rocky, JD, I'll chime in.
It ain't getting rocky. It's smooth skies, smooth sailing all the way here out.
B, I need to hear your opinion on this next one because when I think of Ja Morant in this league, there's only probably one other person I know that gets just as excited as I do anytime he steps on the floor, and that's you. Yeah, but Louis thinks that he's going to make a legendary play in this All-Star game this weekend. He's going to make some history, apparently, B. What do you think about Ja as he steps into Cleveland?
Well, Ja Morant, before we even get to the All-Star game, has had an incredible season as a young player, in particular, a young point guard in this league with the delicate balance, when to score, okay, and when to pass the ball. And that's very, very delicate, very difficult to do with Ja Morant. So far, already in his career, he's mastered that art. Do I think he's going to make a legendary play? Well, I can tell you this, he's going to go for something legendary. I'm sure he has something planned. These young guys will come to the game with a lot of energy. And I'm sure the older guys, the Steph Curry and all of these guys, LeBron James, they're going to get out of this way because he's going to try something. And I just hope that he pulls it off, whatever it may be, because you know what? Every game that he plays is an all-star game, okay? I mean, this guy is just trying all types of things. So now that he's there with everyone, let's sit back, guys, get your popcorn, and let's see what Ja Morant is going to do. Mr. Ja Morant.
I'm enjoying this. And one person that's going to get an opportunity to watch him nice and up close is Eric Spoelstra, because we know that he'll be one of the coaches in terms of with the All-Star game. Mo, I need to know your opinion, though, because as much as Eric Spoelstra has had a great season, Alex believes that he actually is the coach of the year this year. At point of recording, I just want to make it clear, Miami is first in the Eastern Conference. But Mo, how do you feel about this hot take from Al?
Eric Spoelstra is the caliber of coach where he could be in that conversation for coach of the year every year. But for this season, my pick for coach of the year right now, there's two names. I want to shout out to Billy Donovan, but I also want to shout out to JB Bickerstaff, the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Because at the start of the season, there were big question marks on how this team would work with Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, two big 7-foot guys playing in that team. He's got a system at work. You look at the player development, which I think is an underestimated impact of coaching of Darius Garland, who's been fantastic. And look at what the Cleveland Cavaliers are doing. I don't think anyone expected them to be this good. Whereas the Miami Heat, on paper, they were tooling up for a championship, adding Kyle Lowry, PJ Tucker. These are all championship caliber players. So Eric Spoelstra has been great, but right now I'm rocking with JB Bickerstaff for the Cavs.
You know what? I like that. I like that energy because, Mo, you've done it consciously. You've helped me link straight to the last hot take for this week. And, Ovie, I wanted to give it to you because I think potentially this could be a finals sit down for you at some point. As a Phoenix Suns fan, you got to be eyeing up the finals. And whoever comes out of the East is going to come out of the East. But David believes that the Cavs are going to cause a surprise. And they're going to bounce either the Sixers or the Nets. How do you see that?
To be fair, Cavs, I think are having an absolutely amazing season. I think they're ahead of schedule right now. Obviously, I think during the trades, before trade deadline, they made, some moves. Well, especially with Chris LeVert, I think that's showing that they're really trying to make a push and they're trying to be serious players come playoff time. However, you're talking about, once KD comes back, that's a healthy KD. That's a bigger front line they have there. They have more shooting. And obviously Kyrie Irving. And then I think we've got the MVP as it stands right now over there in Philadelphia with the addition of James Harden and, I think a decent supporting cast. I think it'll be tough. I think it'll be extremely tough. I think there's one thing that people can, a lot of the time, underestimate when it comes playoff time, and that's playoff experience in the NBA. I think playing in the regular season and doing well, especially with a sort of young core, young players, that's one thing. But when it comes down to playoff time, playoff basketball, I think the veterans around the league, BJ can attest to it, playoff basketball is a completely different game. And, when he's coming up against that type of experience, I think that'll be a little bit hard to pull off. However, I do see where it's coming from.
Love that. I love that take. Thank you so much to the HeatCheck family, as always, for responding. I actually think that was quite a nice hot or not this week. I think there was a lot of agreement. I think there was a lot of people, but more than anything else, thank you to the fans because, as always, you guys are the most active on the timeline, so we appreciate you.